Joining us now to talk about derelict buildings is Kevin Klein. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning. How are you, gentlemen?
Yeah, we're doing really well, Kev. There are vacant and derelict buildings throughout the city, concentrated in many North End and inner city neighborhoods. The last number we received from the city was over 600. Winnipeg's fire paramedic service has dealt with numerous fires in recent years, and we're looking to get the updated and latest numbers on that as well. What, if anything, would you do to deal with this problem of derelict houses and buildings in our community?
Well, I'm already doing stuff. I don't need to talk about what I would do. I'm already putting stuff into action, and I will continue to intensify that as mayor. I've already put a motion forward that allows the fire department, Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Service, to start charging owners of these derelict buildings every time there is a response to that property. And that can be anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 every time they call, because it's unsafe. It's unsafe for the women and men of our emergency services and all first responders. It's unsafe for people that live in that area. It attracts crime, and we've had enough crime. The other thing that I tried to do, as on council a couple times, and my colleagues all voted it down, was I wanted to apply a fee to vacant and derelict buildings. And that fee would multiply every year. So you would start at $2,500, go to $5,000, $10,000, and so on. And why I said a fee, unlike a lot of people that are saying, well, let's put we have bylaws for it, we're going to enforce the bylaws. You can put in all the bylaws you want, and as long as the people pay the property tax, you can't take that building. But if you put fees, those get applied to the property tax, and as soon as they don't pay it, we can start action to take that property.
Kevin, I want to jump back to what you mentioned about this fee. If the Winnipeg Fire Service has to go out anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, where's that at? Was that a proposal before council was dissolved? I just want our listeners to be really clear on where that's at.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Now, it passed. I was able to get it passed at council. Again, that's kind of the problem that we have. It falls into a black hole, if you will. We need someone as mayor and council that will follow up on this. So I know that the fire chief, I heard the fire chief on media and spoke to him. They want this. They've been working on this for years. So right now it's in the public service's hand because we weren't able to put a good deadline onto it. We never do that, and we should. So it's in the system, and as mayor, I would work quickly to have it implemented so that the charges start beginning that day.
Kevin, the process to track down some of these owners of these houses and properties, it can take months, if not years. So what steps would you take to reduce the time to deal with the owners of these properties?
Well, the time to deal with the owners of the properties, that's, under the province of Manitoba legislature. You have to follow a certain court process. But that's why I'll go back to the fees. The only way to fix this is start putting fees and start making them expensive and double them, because then they will quickly not pay their taxes, and then we can go in and we can take that property through the court system. It's not about us getting a hold of them at this point, because you're right. A lot of the people that own these buildings don't even live in Manitoba. Some of them don't live in Canada. So we have to fight to get these buildings back, but we have to follow the proper process.
Organizations like Habitat for Humanity here in Winnipeg have expressed a desire to partner with the city to purchase and convert properties into affordable housing. Kevin, what ideas and thoughts do you have on this area?
Well, first of all, the city of Winnipeg cannot afford a $100 million land trust. We don't have the money. The city's in debt, over $1 billion in debt. We already sell vacant land or land that the city owes for $1 to not-for-profit groups. The problem that I see, Greg, is the time that it takes to demolish a property. And we hear, and I've spoken to a lot of people that have inherited a home, or they're starting a little, side project, and they want to rebuild a home or renovate or to build new. The biggest, most costly part of the process is demolishing the property. It could take well over a year and tens of thousands of dollars, because you have to have a plan in place. You have to get a lot of permits, not just for the demolition, but to move forward. I've put forward a plan of what would be done quickly, and that's have a 30-day demolition period. So when you apply, within 30 days of the time that you apply, your permit to demolish will be there. We don't need all the other information. However, the fee calling that vacant property remains. So we're not going to let you keep it as just a grassy or a weed field either. We're going to make sure that you build or that you work with the city or other people to get rid of it. And the problem with it is that a lot of companies that want to build not-for-profits, including the ones that you've mentioned at Habitat for Humanity who I've spoke to, can't pay the money to demolish a place because it becomes very expensive for them too. So if you allow the property owner to demolish the place without all the fees attached to it, they're going to be able to sell the land at a much cheaper price and it will get developed quicker.
We are speaking with Winnipeg mayoral candidate Kevin Klein. And Kevin, Tracy Ball is somebody that we spoke to on this radio station a couple of months ago. Tracy lives in Old Kildonan and says she had been calling the city and emergency services for months about an abandoned building next to her house on Matheson Street. And this past summer, sure enough, that abandoned building went up in flames. And I just want to play a piece of audio here because she has a suggestion and we're curious to know what you think about that.
We all used to talk that danger zone was from Selkirk to downtown. And then it was Mountain to downtown. And then it was Inkster to downtown. Well, we're past Inkster now. And when do we start saying that the whole thing is now a problem? It is a complete north end problem. It's citywide. But this would not have been allowed to happen on the south side.
So in Tracy's estimation, if this happened in the south side of the city, that it would be a much bigger deal. So what's your take on that assessment?
Well, first of all, Tracy makes a good comment, and I can hear her frustration, and I appreciate that. The very first job that needs to be done is we need to have the bylaw officers doing their job when they are finding the derelict properties and then start applying the fees. This is not a north, south, east, west problem. I have houses in Charleswood, Tuxedo, Westwood that we're working on that are derelict right now, that we're, trying to board up because people have left or it's been the subject of a fire. It doesn't happen as often in the South End because there's newer built homes. So we don't have a lot of the same older style homes as the North End does. But really, it's about us. It's about the public service in the city of Winnipeg. We need to direct the public service to take this issue seriously. It only became serious because Sal Burrows started making it a big issue and going to the media and did a fantastic job of doing that. When I moved my motion about fire and when I moved my motion previously that everyone on council did not support to put the fees attached, this is when we started addressing the problem. That's the fundamental issue in City Hall. It's complacency. It's status quo. We need to make these types of issues a priority, and we need to focus on the safety of our residents, and this is a safety issue.
Kevin, do you think there's a bias towards certain part of the city that we're comfortable ignoring? The Point Douglas is certain parts of North Winnipeg and Central Winnipeg because we're used to quote unquote we're used to certain things happening in those neighborhoods and so they become a lack of a priority.
And what a sad statement that would be. I hope not. I think we do see it more often there, but again, it's the lack of ability, the lack of leadership at City Council. We are the leaders. We direct the public service. We have to stand up and we have to be accountable for that. It's our fault, council's fault. We need to direct the public service to say, we know where all these derelict houses are. Let's start the process because everything takes so much time. We have to get a report and then get a report on why we're getting a report and then get a report on why we're getting a report for a report. Nothing is getting done. What we have to do is be leaders. And we have to say this is a crime issue, this is a safety issue, and it's not fair to the residents living in that area. So we have to take the steps to direct the public service to give demolition permits in 30 days, apply fees and hefty fees. I would start at $5,000 a year if you had a derelict property. The next year, 10, the next year, 20, and so on until we can get these properties taken over. If we start buying property with money that we don't have and going into debt, that's not going to work because people will just take advantage of it and charge us more. We need to charge for first responders and not play around with it. Police had to go there, we're going to charge you. Fire had to go there, we're going to charge you. Ambulance, we're going to charge you. And start making it clear to the ones that don't want to take care of their derelict homes that we're going to apply pressure until they're gone. But we also have to make it easier for those that actually inherited the property or just bought it because they want to start a small side hustle. We have to make it easier for them to get through the system because right now you have to talk to 5 or 10 people. As I said, wait a year or more for a demolition permit. This problem is on the city of Winnipeg. And as mayor, I will fix it.
Kevin Klein joining us live on 680 CJOB. Kevin, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it, sir.